This time we are going to explain how Spearman rank will be computed, which is another formula in case our Spearman rank is needed after we know that the two data set, the two variables under investigations or study are not normally distributed, or if one variable is not normally distributed, or even the two, then we can use the Spearman rank. Otherwise, if we found out that the two variables are normally distributed, then we have the chance to use the Pearson correlation. Okay, in this case, assuming that one variable is not normally distributed using the test of normality, then we have to use the Spearman rank. This is the formula Rs equals 1 minus 6 summation of d squared over n times n squared minus 1. The d here actually is the difference of the rank. You have to square the difference of the rank and you add them multiplied by 6. The n here is the number of respondents under investigation. And then you get that quotient, you subtract it from 1, and the difference is called the Spearman row test. Okay, so let's have an example. We will still use the same idea as what we had in the person R. Okay, so we are going to use the idea of the satisfaction and the motivation. Okay, so let us recall the data. So we have the data for the motivation and for the satisfaction. Now, in the previous video discussion, we computed the satisfaction and the motivation based on the data bank. So example here, if we recall, this is the satisfaction and we have the questions for satisfaction S1 to S10. And then we have the total satisfaction, which is actually the sum of the responses of each respondent from question 1 to question 10. Okay, and then if you look for the black cross and double click, you will get the sum. You also have the mean, meaning the average instead of the sum. That is for satisfaction, and for motivation, we have 10 questions, M1 to M13. And then for this motivation, we can get the sum also, which is the sum of the responses from question 1 to question 13. Okay. And then we can also have the mean for motivation. However, we will just only use the sum. So that's why in our example here, we have the sum, the 27, the 35, 26. This was the sum for the satisfaction and the sum for motivation. So I simply copied it from the given sum here. So I highlight this one, motivation for instance, copy, and I paste it here, motivation, then number 1, 2, 3 as values. So these are the values. Okay, now going to the formula, as mentioned earlier, we need the difference of the rank and we square that and you get the sum. So what we did here, we have the column rank of satisfaction, meaning the satisfaction shall be rank here. We have also rank of motivation, so this motivation value shall be rank. And we get the difference of the rank, satisfaction, and motivation. So that's why here rank S minus rank M. So later you will understand how to compute that. But first, we have to understand how to get the rank of satisfaction. The command here is equals rank dot avg, meaning you have to get the rank average. So if in case there are tie, so the rank will split directly into the same values. Okay. So we have D2. The D2 here, this is the first value to be ranked. And then you have to write, I can write that way. So for us to be guided, we have D2, this one, and then you rank that. Okay, you highlight satisfaction all here until here. Okay, and then if you notice, you have to know how to rank this. Is it ascending or descending? But in Pearson R, we don't rank it, but in Spearman Raw, the rank should be in descending order, meaning the highest value is rank 1 and the lowest value is the last rank. So in this option, 0 is the descending, so you put 0. But before you go to the operation, you have to ensure that there are dollar signs between the letter and the number, because we need to fix the values that our rank will limit only from 27 to the last response in the 30th respondents. So the shortcut command there is to press F4. So if you press F4, automatically the $2 signs will be inserted. The same with D. Okay. You press the cursor here. You put the cursor between the letters and the number, and then press F4. Okay, so if the $2 signs are there already, so you can now write it. Okay, and then double click after finding the cross. So meaning 27 is rank 10 among the 30th respondents, and so on and so forth. These are the ranks. Okay. The next thing that we are going to rank is the motivation. The same idea. You have to rank average. You highlight this one, and then uh, you highlight also comma, and then you highlight the values from 33 down to the last data, and then don't forget to insert dollar sign by pressing F4 between the letter and the number, and then comma 0, meaning descending order. So if you put the cross sign here and double click, the same answer, meaning this is already 44 is ranked second, no, second to the highest. You notice that 35 is in that rank among all this number. Now D equals rank S minus rank M, meaning subtract this rank by this rank. The formula is subtract F2. This is F2 minus G2. So you highlight the numbers to be subtracted, and then press enter, and then find the cross, and then double click. Okay. Now the last one is the D squared, meaning you square the result in the D after we subtract rank of S and M. So you square that, meaning you can have that, or you can also, another way, example, this one times this one. Okay, the same answer. So if you double click, no, nothing changed here because they are the same. Now, in the formula, what we need is the sum of D squared. So that's why we need to get the sum of this D squared. So if you notice, I highlighted equals sum, highlight this first value to the last value here. Okay, that's the sum. Okay. And then based on the formula now, if we are going to check the formula, you have first multiply 6 by the sum of D squared. So 6 times sum of D squared. So this one, meaning multiplied 6 by this one. So that's the answer. And then you multiply n by n squared minus 1. So as you notice, n is 30 because there are 30 respondents under study. So 30 times 30 squared minus 1. So that's the grouping symbol is important. As you notice, the red grouping symbol means you square that first, then the result will be subtracted by 1, and still inside the parentheses, the difference now will be multiplied to 30. Then the next is divide A by B. Why? Because in the operation, this is the A, the first we did, and this is the second we did. So we divide that A by B. So divide this one by this one. That's the result. And then subtract 1 by C, meaning after we divide this one, you subtract it from 1 here. So double click. So meaning 1 minus, this one is from C. Okay, that's why I highlighted here C. Enter. Now, our Spearman rank test value is 0.74 74316. And in order for you to understand, or for us to understand whether this is significantly related or not, we have to check the test of significance. Now, how do we know? If we are going to research that in the internet, we can search that in the internet. Example, we can search in Google. Example, we have to check test of significance for correlation. Okay, don't forget to write that PDF so that all the options are in the PDF form. You have here Pearson. We are looking at the Spearman rank. We will try this one. We will not look for the person itself. Okay, we'll try to check this one. Okay, click that one. And we are guided with this downloadable val documents. So it's international. So I'd like to highlight this. It's International Journal of Mathematics, printed, okay, 2021. Very good. It is available in the internet. So we'll try to look at if we can verify that we can still use the formula for the rank of correlation, the formula for uh, test of significance. Okay, if you remember this one, this formula was used for 1 minus r squared over n minus 1, or also known as r times square root of n minus 2 over 1 minus r squared. So formula for um, person R test of significance. But still, in this reference, the R becomes this symbol, and this symbol means the Spearman Rho coefficient. Since we computed that in the Excel, so we can use the same formula. So again, n minus 2 over 1 minus the rho squared value. So we can use that. So that's why if you notice, this is the result. This is the R, the Pearson, I mean the Spearman rank value. So multiplied it by the square root of 30 minus 2, because n minus 2 over 1 minus this value squared, based on the formula for significance of the t test for significance of R. So be careful of the symbol, so that indicates which operation first will be conducted by Excel. So be guided. And this is the result now, so we need to interpret that by putting that in the table. So this is now the summary table. The variables are the satisfaction and motivation, of course, the one that we investigate. And we have the Spearman Rho test. Okay, so based on the computation, it's here. So to copy that here without uh, hassle, so you will just do equals, then click and enter. Okay, that's the result. This one, okay, you can have equals, click and enter. So the same answer. So as you notice, we have now to look for the tabular value. In this case, it's 2.048. How do we find that? We have to search that in the internet. Everything is available in the internet. So example, we have, uh, since we are using now the t-test, so we can get a t-distribution table in the internet. And then we'll go to the image so that we will be provided with the images. Okay, so you can click that one. We'll look at which is clear. Okay, here I think you can see that clearly. So we have one tail and two tails here. So in this case, we will use the two tail usually. We look for 0.05. We set the alpha level 0.05. Okay, and then our degrees of freedom here is n minus 2. So n is 30 minus 2, 28. So we look at 28 and we cross to 0.05 under total. So be careful. Here, the answer is 2.048. If you look at on the column rows above, it's one tail. 0.05 is for 28 is 1.701. It's for one tail. And this is for two tails. So we have 2.048. So that's why in the example, I use the 2.048. We assume two-tailed with the degrees of freedom 0. Degrees of freedom 28 and minus 2 and alpha level 0.05. So what is our decision now? Since the t-test is greater than the t-tabular based on the table, so our decision is significant. Null hypothesis will be rejected. And that means related. So we can say now that in the interpretation, students are motivated maybe because they are satisfied, or the satisfaction of the students are due to their motivation. So the implications, the meaning beyond these two variables when they are related shall be explained in chapter 2 in the interpretation and analysis of data, not just copying all these values and repeatedly explaining that under the table. Okay, so I hope you understood that uh, this Spearman rank will be used again if after the test of normality, two variables are not normally distributed or one variable is not normally distributed. Okay, and you can test the normality using the test of normality, test of skewness, as discussed in the other video. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you learn a lot.